becoming great whirlwinds.
Let's go to a bank. This is the Gaiba Bank that is in downtown Hiroshima. And Akiko Takakura arrives early because part of her responsibilities is to clean the bank. The Japanese were especially patronizing towards young women working during the wartime. She's there with a friend, Asami. They're inside the bank at 8:15. So they escape, although they're very close, they escape the flash part. They feel the bang, and my note here says that at 8:25 they go outside. What do they see?
Right. Their survival was quite incredible. It was one of those instances that we spoke about a minute ago about the shock cocoon. That building should not have survived, and yet it did. And it was a thick granite and concrete building, so they were shielded to a large degree from the gamma rays, although not completely. And they went outside, and everything around them had been destroyed. And yet there were places where even where people nearby sitting outside the bank had been turned essentially to charcoal, and the blast and the backblast effect did not pull them apart. So they saw such things as a man sitting on the steps who was just a person who had been converted to charcoal. There was a man who seemed to still be standing, towing a wooden wheeled cart that had two children in it who were holding their knees. And nearby she also saw a human hand where oils were being brought to the surface as the hand burned, and she saw the fingers burning like candles, and then the black rain came.
And then the black rain started. Now, here is a phenomenon that Charlie very explicates. What is the rain? Where does it come from?
The rain is everything that was irradiated on the ground and the water that was drawn up with it.
So it takes all the moisture of the plants, the ground, the buildings, every piece of moisture
surface of
within
water,
it.
every cicada or bird that was in flight near the flash effect.
Turns them into gas back up in the cloud.
Right,
and then
water
it
that was drawn.
condenses. Then it condenses, and it falls back down
Right,
as rain.
in the upper atmosphere, that condenses, and it condenses around the black dust, which is the highly irradiated material. I mean, in the first millionth of a second, almost every element and isotope that has ever existed in the entire history of the universe had been briefly created. Most of those had half-lives of fraction of a second, and they gave off their gamma rays and were just losing their power very quickly. But there were isotopes that had longer half-lives, these very unstable elements of hours, days, and weeks that were up in the black rain and that were coming down with the black rain.
Akiko, everyone who's survived experiences the phenomenon of enormous thirst, endless thirst. And Akiko and her friend Asami stand there with their mouths open, looking up to drink the rain.
Right, and in fact there was a can nearby. They were catching it in that and drinking that. The gamma rays that did get into the bank and did go through them would have been a contributor to this just ravenous thirst that took them over. And they did not know at the time that the rain they were drinking was potentially very deadly.
Yes, Akiko lives till 2005, astonishingly, 70 more years. Asami dies very early. So it hits, what does it do to our DNA?
And Asami also had some physical injuries because part of the support for the bank, pieces of granite had actually, as part of the building, accordioned it down, been blasted into her back. So she also had severe back injuries.
Does it rearrange our DNA? Does it strike people differently?
It snaps your DNA apart, and sometimes it comes back together. We have repair systems, but even they, being DNA-based, were overwhelmed in many cases, depending on where you were. If you got what at the time was 600R, you almost certainly died.
I'm speaking with Charles Pelegrino to Hell and Back. The Hiroshima blast has gone off, and there are survivors. And when we come back, ant walkers. I'm John Batchelor. This is The John Batchelor Show.